Hey mamas, I'm Brooke Miller, registered dietitian, certified lactation counselor, and a mama who has helped hundreds of moms feel like themselves again after baby, boost their energy, mood, metabolism, and even milk supply. Inside of the Postpartum Shift podcast, you'll learn how to take care of your health so that you can show up best for the ones you care about most. Each week, we'll tackle topics like nutrition, exercise, breastfeeding, mental health, and so much more. Plus, you'll get access to guest experts who will share ways to make your pregnancy and postpartum experience easier. Whether you're approaching the postpartum period or you're right in the thick of it, you're in the right place. Let's dive into today's topic. Maybe you've spent months or years nourishing your baby with breastfeeding, and it's become a big part of your routine and a bond with your baby. But maybe it's time for you to wean. And this might mean that you are ready to wean. This might mean that your baby is ready to wean. And unfortunately, for most of us, the timelines don't quite land at the exact same time. Usually we find that either our baby is showing signs that they are ready to wean before we're ready, or we're ready to wean before our baby is. And so I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my experience, some of the emotions that happen with weaning, and some things that you can do to make weaning a little bit easier. So with my first son, he was about 22 months. It was like right before his second birthday, and he just started biting me. He was uninterested. He was done. And I was so sad because I really wanted to hit his exact second birthday just to say that I made it 2 years. But you know what? He was done. And so we cut it short and I ended up weaning him, like right before his second birthday. And I just wasn't ready, and it was really sad. I felt a little bit of failure because I didn't hit the goal that I had set out for. But again, he was like so happy and ready to wean, and we were only breastfeeding 1 to 2 times a day. So it's not like we were breastfeeding that often. But weaning isn't just physical, it's very emotional. And a lot of times, society or parents or friends, they just don't understand, especially people who never breastfed, or maybe like parents who breastfed 30, 40 years ago. They just don't really understand the emotional weight that comes along with that decision and the guilt that can kick in, especially if we feel like, maybe we feel guilty, like we're feeling like we're ready to wean, but we feel guilty. Maybe somebody's making us feel guilty about it. I want to talk about all of these different emotions that come up. So some emotions that can come up with weaning are relief. Like maybe you're just like, I'm ready to have my body back. Like I'm ready to travel without a breast pump. I'm ready to, not be tied to a pump or breastfeeding all the time. You might feel sad, like, oh man, like this was a really special bond that only, I could have with my baby. You might feel guilt. This is a huge one of, if I'm stopping too soon, should I keep going? Is my baby ready? Am I, taking something away that they love? Uncertainty about like, how is this going to change your relationship with your baby? And it's okay to have mixed feelings. I felt all of these with my second breastfeeding experience. So my son was over 2. He was not ready to wean at all. And I was like, I'm done. I hit 2 years with him. I was 8 months pregnant with my third baby. And I was just like, I am so done. I do not really want to breastfeed 2 babies. I will if I have to, but I really don't want to. And so I did tandem breastfeed both of them for like 2 weeks. And I just at this point, I was like, buddy, I'm done. I'm done. I had this like sense of relief. Like I want this to be over. I was a little bit sad and I felt guilty because he was not ready to be done. He did not want to be done. So I felt guilty that I was maybe a bad mom for like taking something away from him that I didn't necessarily need to take away from him. And so I felt a lot of emotions, and, it was hard. He was definitely sad about it. And he would like try to like breastfeed. And then what we started doing that really helped is I would have him like cuddle next to me when I was breastfeeding his sister. And then I would like be like, grab your stuffed animal, like, let's grab a book. Mommy will still cuddle you. And so I would still give him cuddles and attention. And then, I would just like replace it with something else. And so that was really helpful for us to wean, but it's really hard to get you and your baby on the exact same timeline, same page. It's pretty rare that all of a sudden your baby one day is like, showing some signs that they're ready to wean, and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to wean. Usually it's mom making the decision that she's ready to wean, or your baby showing signs that they're ready to wean before you're ready. If you've been wanting to reach your healthiest weight and feel like yourself again postpartum without having to sacrifice your favorite foods or your milk supply, I've got a free workshop just for you. Inside of this free workshop, you'll discover how to boost energy, mood, metabolism, and even protect your milk supply. You'll learn common mistakes that moms make that actually cause exhaustion, mood swings, low milk supply, and weight loss resistance to become worse, things that moms don't even realize. And you'll learn the proven 3-step method to heal your hormones and metabolism after baby so you can go from surviving to thriving postpartum. Plus, as a free gift, you'll get my postpartum snack guide when you come hang out with us. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes to save your seat today. Spots are limited. See you there. And so hormones play a huge role in how we feel during the weaning process. So estrogen and progesterone, those levels change and increase while we're pregnant, and then they drastically drop when we give birth. And so the drop in prolactin and oxytocin as we're starting to wean can cause mood swings or even mild depression. So, this can also lead to us feeling more guilt or sadness about it. And so sadness during weaning can be normal because of the hormonal component. And also, again, the mom guilt that can kick in. So, just that reminder that whenever you're ready to wean, it's okay. Like it's gotta be something that you feel good about. And so something that you can ask yourself is like, am I feeling pressured to wean early from like my spouse or my mom or parent or whatever? Or am I actually really ready to wean? Because sometimes we're not ready to wean, but we're getting pressure from friends or family or spouses or doctors telling us like, it's time, you should not still be breastfeeding your baby. Or vice versa. Maybe we're like, you know what, I hit my goal. Maybe your goal was to breastfeed 1 month or pump for 1 month. And you're like, I hit this goal. Like I think I'm ready, I'm ready to start weaning. And maybe like your spouse or mom or doctor is like, oh no, keep going. You really need to make sure that the decision is really internally what you want. You shouldn't be feeling pressure from anybody. Of course, and that's the right decision for you. And that decision might look different this postpartum experience than it did with others. And that's totally fine. It's okay if, one baby you breastfed 3 years and the other one you breastfed 2 years and the other one was 1 year. Like it's okay if they're all different. Or one was 2 weeks and one was 6 months. Every baby is unique and their needs are uniquely different. The most important thing is asking for help. If you're not ready to wean and you're struggling, please, please, please seek support. If you are not ready to wean, but people are pressuring you to wean, please seek support. Talk to other moms who are also breastfeeding and who have your back, because it's really important that if you want to keep going, that you have the support in place so that you can do it. And just reminding yourself that weaning is a new chapter. It's not necessarily an ending. You can replace that bond with something different. Like I said, we started, just doing some cuddles and reading books together, and we transitioned with my second son in just doing other things together. And that was really helpful. During your weaning process, it's also important to focus on nutrition, which obviously focusing on nutrition anytime you're in really the first few years postpartum or breastfeeding or weaning, these are all important seasons of life, because we have changing hormones going on. We have healing. We have a lot of things going on with our mood and our hormones, and that we really want to support. And so we want to make sure that we are keeping our blood sugar balanced, getting enough healthy fat, protein, and carbohydrates with fiber, making sure that we're getting things in like omega-3 fatty acids, magnesium, iron, B vitamins. All of these things can be really helpful while we are going through the transition of weaning. And then of course, really asking yourself what helps you mentally. So for me, going outside and going for walks is something that really helps me. So that is something that I always do whenever I go through the weaning process, because it really helps me. Something else is I love getting a monthly massage. That is just something that just gives me a 1 hour of silence by myself. It feels so it just feels so relaxing, to have something like that. So maybe for you, it's getting a pedicure or a massage once a month. But really just asking yourself, what is going to help me through this process? What's going to give me some self-care? It might be going to bed earlier, journaling, meditation, deep breathing. There's so many different options that you can do for yourself. And really be open to talking about your partner or support system or friends with how you're feeling. Again, a lot of your friends may understand your emotions. They may have gone through the same thing. So it can feel really validating to talk to other friends and family who've gone through the weaning process. You can talk to them about what's worked for them. And like I said, weaning for my second son was hard. It was definitely a week where he was like really sad about it. And my biggest advice with that is just like replacing that session, giving them some alone time with you still where they're bonding with you in some sort of other way. And love isn't measured in ounces. It's just measured in how you show up, and take care of your baby. Like if you're still taking care of them and making sure that they are fed and bathed and clothed and they have a roof over their head and, you're taking care of their needs, that is really what's so important. So just know if you're struggling through this process, if you're going through different emotions, know that you're not alone. Very different emotions can come up throughout the weaning process. Your emotions may change through the weaning process too. So that's also something to keep in mind, that that's totally normal. And, being in community with other moms is really helpful. And that is why I love the postpartum shift community so much, because we have moms in the community who are going through the weaning process, who've already weaned, who are, still continuing to breastfeed or weaned, another baby in the past. And so we have this community of hundreds of moms where they can just say, hey, I'm working on weaning. I'm struggling with this. I'm feeling different emotions. And then, other moms can chime in and share what's worked for them and that they're not feeling alone. Just hearing from other moms in the community that they're not alone, hearing advice from different moms and dietitians and lactation counselors, just so they feel like truly supported, because sometimes an online community is what you have available to you. If you don't have a lot of friends or family who live, near you, where you get to see them, every single day, it can be so nice to have this online community where you can ask a question and, get responses that same day and just feel truly supported. So postpartum shift community, those moms in there are so incredible. So you can go ahead and click the link in the show notes below if you want to learn more about that community, or if you want to attend our free workshop. That's where we break down the nutrition principles that you need to start implementing if you are, in your first year postpartum, if you are breastfeeding, if you are weaning, or if you've just recently weaned, then that workshop is going to be super helpful for you. And I will see you in the next episode. Exercise is crucial for our overall mental and physical health, especially during pregnancy and postpartum. Something that has helped me stay really consistent with strength training and yoga at home during nap time is the Expecting and Empowered workout app. I love that I can choose how many weeks pregnant or postpartum I am, and the app tells me exactly what to do. Plus, there's cardio, yoga, and strength training options for new moms and moms to be. You can go ahead and click the link in the show notes to get 7 days free and also save 15% off the annual option when you use promo code Nutrition for Mamas. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to the Postpartum Shift podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could share this episode with a mom friend and leave a written review. This helps the podcast reach and help even more moms. Come say hi over on Instagram at Nutrition for Mamas.